Here are 3 reasons why VMO strengthening is a waste of time when trying to fix patellofemoral pain syndrome. Number 1 is that it's impossible to isolate just the VMO muscle. Now, the VMO muscle is right here. VMO stands for vastus medialis oblique. As you can see on my muscle model here, I'm going to just get rid of the leg, the bottom part of the leg. So you're just looking at the thigh here. This thing kind of falls apart, so just watch out here. These 3 muscles are part of the quads, and it's called quads because you have 4. There's a deeper one right there. That's the 4th quad muscle. Now this one that's right here is the vastus medialis muscle. So when we're talking about the vastus medialis oblique, they're talking about the angles, the fibers down here that come in at an oblique angle, at like a 45-degree angle. They change slightly, and people are trying to just strengthen this part of the muscle in order to help get relief from patellofemoral pain syndrome. The problem, number 1, is you cannot isolate out just this part of the muscle. It's impossible. It's impossible to tighten up your thigh muscles and only get this part to burn. And even just one muscle, it's impossible to get all the quad muscles to not fire. So whenever you tighten up your quad, the way you would do it, like on me right here, is you would think about squeezing this muscle, straightening out your knee all the way, pulling your kneecap up a little bit. That makes all the muscles in the front of the thigh, and the VMO that's right here will fire, but so will everything else. So it's a waste of time to spend time trying to get the right exercise to just get this muscle to activate. You're chasing a fantasy. It's just not physically possible in the body. And there are some workarounds that people have figured out, like putting electrodes, like the electrical stimulation machine, and getting those to work. But let me tell you my next points and why that's also going to be a waste of time. Number 2 is that more quad strength equals more patella injury. So if you have patellofemoral pain syndrome, that means that your kneecap, around the kneecap, right above, right below, maybe behind, the cartilage behind, somewhere in there it is irritated. It's hurting you. And the reason that that happens is because if your quad muscles are too strong, including the VMO and any other part of the quad muscles, if they're too strong, too dominant, because they attach to the kneecap right here, they're going to pull the kneecap up against the thigh bone. You might see it better on this model here. So this is the knee, this is the right knee over there, but if you can see the tendon right here, this is the quad tendon. All those quad muscles would be right here, and the VMO would be on the inner part of the knee right here. If they get stronger, at rest, they just have an increased pull without you having to do anything, and what it does is it pulls this tendon, which is going to smash that kneecap up against the thigh bone. This is why people that have patellofemoral pain syndrome will often get pain just sitting around. They'll be having a meal, and if they're sitting with their knees bent like this at about 90 degrees or more, their knees start to hurt. In fact, they call it moviegoer sign, because people, when they go watch a movie at the movie theater, if they're sitting with their knees bent, their knee starts to ache about an hour in, halfway through the movie, and they can't tolerate it. I mean, it hurts a lot. They have to get up and move around, and last thing you want to do while you're in a theater at the movies is have to get up to move while you're enjoying your movie. So it doesn't make sense to strengthen the VMO or any of the quad muscles more if you have patellofemoral pain syndrome, because it's just going to equal more patella injury. And number 3 is that strengthening the VMO and quad muscles in general feeds into the root problem. Now, it's a little bit of an expansion on number 2, but the root problem, just so that you know what I'm talking about here, if you have too strong of quads or they're too dominant, I'm saying 2 different words because too strong means that they're very developed, like you've maybe intentionally worked on your quad strength, or for whatever reason your thigh muscles in the front of your thighs are very strong. But you might not be a strong person, you might not have very developed muscles, you might just be dominant. In other words, you don't use your glutes for very much because that's the weakness over here. Or maybe you don't use your hamstrings, but you use your quads all the time, and you're aware that you tend to use your quads whenever you do any activities. You feel sore in your quads, or you feel your quads fatigue. If that's you, then you're quad dominant and possibly too strong in your quads. The imbalance here is that your glutes are too weak and they are causing your quads and other muscles in the area, usually the inner thigh muscles, which are neighbors to the VMO, it's causing those muscles to compensate. Because whenever you go walk and take a step, what you should be doing ideally is your glutes should be pulling your thigh bone backwards to propel your body forward in space. But if you don't have enough strength from there, then your quads are in a position where they can straighten out your knee and push you forward, but from the knee joint down here. So it ends up overloading the knee and the thigh bone. You need to get stronger quads in order to stop compensating with the quads. So if you're strengthening your quads, especially the VMO, then you're going to be feeding into the root problem that causes more patellofemoral pain syndrome. Now, this root problem can set up other knee issues like meniscus tears. In the long term, it can set up arthritis in the knee. Because it affects the way the thigh bone moves up at the hip, it can set up problems like hip bursitis, hip arthritis, tendinitis up in the hip. It can cause bursitis and tendinitis down in the knee joints as well. It can even influence the position of the pelvis, which can create back pain and definitely sciatica problems. So fixing this problem can solve a lot of other issues, but strengthening the VMO, strengthening the quads more, tends to feed in to worse hip problems, sciatica problems, and back issues. You don't want to do that. Now, if you're looking to solve patellofemoral pain syndrome at the root of the problem for the long term, then you need to address those muscle imbalances, and you need to take a look at this program that I've developed. It's called the Patella Pain Recovery Program. This program is my entire treatment approach. It walks you from A to Z so that you can know exactly what to do at each step of the way. And it takes you all the way to running, jumping, lifting weights even, without making your knee worse. But you have to make sure that you go through the process in order to resolve patellofemoral pain syndrome at the root of the problem by getting those muscle imbalances addressed. This program is linked down in the description below. You can access it from anywhere you have an internet connection and a screen to watch the videos. I've made it as if I'm there with you, as if you're here with me and I'm treating you and walking you through my treatment approach. There's over 30 videos in there. It's totally worth it. I've also got a playlist called the Patellofemoral Pain Help Playlist. It's got all our videos that pertain to PFPS, patellofemoral pain syndrome. It's linked in the description below as well. Hey, if this video was helpful for you, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that you get notified each time we release a new video. Share this with somebody you think needs to hear this, and drop a comment. If you have any questions, we love to answer them as fast as possible. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.